In this video I'm going to restore these 25-year-old headlights. We are also going to fabricate some metal, install the hood and make the underside look nice again. But at first we begin with the underside. Therefore I removed as much underseal as I possibly can. And even though I haven't removed everything, it still took me ages. If you would ask me what I really hate, I would say I hate removing underseal. Because it is just a tedious job and I really don't like it. But in the end, it is a pretty rewarding job because the underside looks that much better. And you know, I got to play with fire, so it's actually pretty alright. Now I'm brushing on some rust stop and try to remove even more underseal. And now we are priming the underside of the car because I really want to have a nice color underneath here. And it looks so nice, you know. I really like that white color underneath the car. But I'm making the underside of the car black. And on the spare tire well, I've put on some underseal. And the car looks so nice from underneath. We have a problem with the fuel tank straps. And the thing with the fuel tank straps is it's pretty rusty and they are no good for anything. So I have new ones. Perfect. And while standing underneath the car, I remembered that there are two drains that usually get blocked by a plate. But these plates are rusted away, so I had to cut out even more to weld in some new material and seal these holes. And now I'm making myself some templates out of tape.
Cut them out. Put the tape on metal and cut the metal out.
Then test fit them and trim even more.
Here I already tacked it into place. And now we are fully welding them. And here we are protecting the inner structure we had to weld in the last few episodes. Now we are going to tackle the exhaust. There are a few holes in here and I had to weld them. And now everything is sealed up again. Installing the exhaust again took me about 2 hours because it's so heavy. But everything is installed again. I have even cleaned the engine a bit. And here we go again, some rusty piece of junk. The trunk has a big rust hole we have to weld shut. Therefore I had to tape up everything I wanted to cut out. And remove the leathers and cutting time. As I stood right in front of the trunk, I feared that I would never be able to restore this trunk. I thought I couldn't bend any metal to match the shape, but I have took some measurements and made my progress step by step.
And with that, my anxiety slowly went away.
And take a look at that. Doesn't this look quite presentable? All that's left to do was to grind down the welds and then put on some filler. And I guess sanding again. I don't like sanding at all. The other side of the trunk wasn't really that bad. And after this was done, I've prepared the car for paint. And the conditions for paint were horrible. It wasn't warm enough, there was some wind, and the only way to paint it was right there and right now. So I masked up everything. Put on a few layers of primer. Heated it up with a heat gun and then put on some base coat and clear coat. And take a look at that. The paint doesn't seem to be that horrible.
And now we are going to install the hood.
After some fiddling around, the hood sits perfect and all of the gaps have equal spaces. Next we are removing the headlights because it's way easier to restore them when they are not on the car. Look at these headlights, they look disgusting. The sunlight and sitting outside for all these years caused them to look like that. So at first I had to clean them, then disassemble them and clean them. And clean them even more. And now I'm cutting a piece of sandpaper to match the shape of a sanding block. Drench it in water and start sanding and even more sanding. This took me ages. I think for both headlights it took me about 2 to 3 hours to fully sand them. And after sanding they look like that. And now I'm putting on the protective layer onto the headlights. But before I'm cleaning them with some fresh water, just nice and clean. With this device we're putting on a thin layer of chemicals which protect the headlights against sun rays and also make them clear again. Plug it in and let it sit for about 4 minutes. And if you ask me, this looks like magic. I don't know how, but they look like new again. And since the headlights looked great, we had to put on some new grills. And many people will hate me for the fact that I have used some aftermarket ones, but I like them. And you know, they were quite cheap.